All right, everybody, let's get started. Welcome everybody to our City of Cotulla Council meeting for a regular meeting on Thursday, August 12, 2021, at 7 p.m. at the Alexander Convention Center, Main Hall, 290 North IH-35 Access Road, Cotulla, Texas. This is an open meeting subject to open meeting laws of the state of Texas. Roll call. I believe everybody's here.
Mr. Garcia called and said that he had a conflict with his work schedule and he asked to be excused.
I need a first motion to excuse Mr. Garcia. First motion by Mr. Cotulla, second by Mr. Rodriguez. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carries. Will everybody please join me on the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Citizens to be heard. Council cannot discuss any present issues, nor may any action be taken on any given issue at this time. Mr. City Secretary, was there any citizens to be heard?
We had a letter that was sent in by David Hinojosa, representing Armando Hinojosa, the artist who has done several sculptures throughout the city. He apparently went by the city hall and saw the statues that we have there of the deer and the jabalina that are in the background of the lobby windows, and he came in and brought in some of his original art, and we have it on display there at the in that map room area, and he is offering the city, if the city wants to purchase that art collection. It's worth about $48,000, and he is offering his private art collection to the city for $38,000. It's not on the agenda for any action or anything, but I invite you to go to City Hall and to look at the frames. If you want to pass this along to the council members so they can see him. He is a nationally recognized artist, and you know, we'll put it on the agenda. You decide yea or nay if you want to do it or not. It's up to you.
Do any of them represent the city or the county? Or deer, cowboys, or whatever?
You'll see the pictures. They're all cowboys and deers and flowers and children, and they're very nice. They're very well done. They're all framed. They're all coming from his own private collection. And so when we bring it to you, you get to vote it up or down. But I invite you to go see it, so that it would do very well on our walls. We have a lot of walls there. We are making preparations to do a ribbon cutting. We never had a chance to do a ribbon cutting for the new city hall. We want to do that. We're in the process of making some changes to the dedication plaque, and once that's done, we're going to go ahead and bring that to the table, and so that we can go ahead and do that. And we also need to do the ribbon cutting of the airport terminal. That all of those events were interrupted by the shutdown and the pandemic, and so we want to make sure we get them back up again, so that people have an opportunity to see the new facilities. They're very well done. They're very nice. Most of the people that have gone in to see them are very impressed by the work that was done, and you know, I think more people need to see it, and we need to get a little bit more publicity. Although we've done some slideshows that are running on our website. Juan has put them on for people to see, and we are getting a lot of attention, but we want to make sure the local community is able to go through the building and to see, what's going to be there for the rest of their lives. And once everything normalizes, a lot of activity is there. Obviously, we've been able to do our work without anybody within the office being constrained by COVID because of the spacing that is in that building. And so we went from about 2,000 square feet to about 10,000 square feet, which is very nice and very ample for growth and everything. But that's just part of the comments that I had. Those are the only comments that we had.
Excellent. Moving on to item number 5, departmental and committee reports.
We have some of the department heads here. You have written documents that have been provided in your packets. I would ask David to get up first, and then Gas would go afterwards, and I guess David is going to introduce one of our newest employees.
Yes, hello Council Mayor. I don't have a whole lot to address this meeting compared to others. There's really 3 different aspects. The rest is in the report. Pool Street project next week on Monday the 16th. There's cow construction will be coming in, and they're going to be breaking ground on the water line extension. They're also going to be building out the street, getting it ready, prepared for pavement. And in that project, they have some concrete work to do. They're putting concrete into the driveways. They're putting railings on the bridge, redoing part of the bridge there. But next week, they're going to come in and start the water line and the milling. We're going to see a lot more action on that street, a lot more start to happen. Of course, the gas aspect of it, I'll leave it alone because it's department, but he has information on that. The new water tower that's being installed at the school yard and public work yard. Currently, they're still in fabrication. Mid-September is what we're being told that they're going to start bringing in metal and erecting it. Between September and December, that'll be the main point of erection of the tower, and by January they should be complete on it. We received the logo from the school. We're going to have the school's mascot logo put on the tower. Possibly next month we may come back for an approval on that through the council. The engineers have it and they're working with it to make it so it'll fit on the tower. So that's been, that's in the works. The last thing I want to talk about is Jimmy Orton Day. He started with us July the 12th last month. He comes to the city of Cotulla with a lot of experience. He has 10 years experience in water and wastewater. He has a Class C water license. He has a Class B wastewater license. He has a municipal solid waste license. He has a Class A CDL. So he's been a great addition. He's been a lot of help. He has a lot of knowledge. And very fortunate to have him.
That's good.
Welcome, sir. Welcome.
Welcome aboard.
He's going to make the presentation on wastewater.
Yes, he was going to do the presentation for the wastewater, being that he was given a position as wastewater supervisor, and I stayed how I was with the water.
As a caveat, before he gets up, TCEQ requires that we have 2 C licensed and 2 C licensed on water and 2 C licensed on wastewater. So we lost Chevo Garza, who went to the police academy, and we had to replace him with somebody that was licensed. There's not that many people around that are licensed, and they come at a premium. In fact, the city manager of Dilley asked me if David could work part-time there and to do some work for him because they lost their licenses, and so they basically want to use his license. And my discussion with them was that as long as it doesn't create a burden on our job. Our job comes first. And, you know, I'm not sure where this is going, but obviously a lot of the cities are scrambling for licenses because they can't find them.
So right now is David and the new gentleman
Yes,
that has, okay.
that have the licenses
Okay.
in water and wastewater.
Okay.
So, yeah, I was gonna leave the wastewater report at that. If there's any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
No, sir.
Okay, well, I'm gonna let it go to Mr. Orr today, and he said they do the wastewater report.
Okay, appreciate it.
Good afternoon, Council. My first month here, it's been great. I'm enjoying it. Trying to catch up with all the projects that are going on. On the wastewater side, we did meet with Stacy Barner with CDM Smith on the wastewater treatment plant project. And we had they came in and gave us a scope of all the projects they want to do there, but the price tag was kind of high according to the money that we have got from a TWDB grant and loan that the city had acquired back in 2015. So we're just going to go ahead and prioritize the main projects that we need so we can keep the plant running efficiently. And once we sit down and prioritize it, hopefully we can have it going in a bid in December.
Is there any items that need attention right now for the wastewater department?
The main one we were looking at was a bar screen in one of the lift stations, so we can keep the trash out of the rags, everything that doesn't belong in the wastewater treatment plant.
Well, you still getting a lot of trash from the prison?
I think we still are.
Yes.
As far as I don't see no more items coming from the prison that are not coming from the rest of the city. So it's pretty equal all the way across the board that, you know, baby wipes, screw wrappers, different stuff like that. At this point, it's accumulative between the whole city. You know, it's actually, it's everywhere.
But sometimes we don't understand how the stuff gets in there.
Right.
Right.
You're talking about 2x4s. I mean, how does somebody flush that down the toilet?
That is true.
Absolutely right.
Besides those items that you just mentioned, is do you still have problems with the grease like you used to?
Yes.
Yes,
You
that's, and that was my next point. We did contract Badger to come out and they cleaned out the storm drains, 4 storm drains, and then some of the lift stations that have the most grease. The most grease, we have to clean them out as well. And they were here. It was 4 storm drains, and then I think it was like 2 or 3 lift stations that they cleaned out.
We have a list, and you'll get a final report. We provided you with a report on the grease traps and how people had complied, and we gave some people some time to be able to comply. The intent is not necessarily to find somebody, but to get them into compliance, and so that's what we're pushing for. And so now we're going back after the people that we gave the time to make sure that they now have complied. I think we gave you the list about 3 weeks ago.
Right.
And so we're going back now, and at the next meeting, we're gonna give you a final list. If there are people that have not complied at that point, we will fine them.
Okay.
Going back to the wipey situation, has there been any notice, like, to inform the public that we would really like to not, or like them to not use the wipies or something like that?
We repeatedly go over and over again, but it's a new contraption that people use, and the easiest way is to just push it down the toilet.
Yeah, it's because they do say flushable, so even though they're giving them problems, people are gonna say no, it said flushable. So.
Yeah, but it clearly doesn't do that, and it doesn't disintegrate like people think it is, and so you have an issue, and it's not just this city, it's every city.
It's pretty much everywhere, and even different states. Everyone's having issues with the
wipes.
Is there anything that we as a city can do to notify the public about having problems with wipes and all that.
We've done
can-
it before.
We can put it on our website and we can create a flyer to go back and
Yeah.
and redo it so that people are aware. And we can continue to do it on a 6-month basis or
Yeah.
something.
That works.
So that people are aware that it continues to be a problem.
That'd be great.
It may not be as effective as we'd like, but I think there will be a couple of people that'll still listen to our request.
Yeah, we've done flyers before, so we just haven't done them in a while. Any other questions for?
No, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much for that report, sir.
Good evening, everyone. Gas problem, not much going on, but there's one that I want to talk about. It's the new gas line on Pool Street. It has been installed with poly, and it's installed. It has been installed between Gulf and Hall Street all the way. Also, all the service lines and taps. The tie-ins on Pool have been installed as well, and tie-ins are roads on the side of Pool Street, like Stadium, Hall, and Baker. Other than that, that's pretty much it on the gas.
I got a question.
We have one additional employee that has been certified for gas distribution and collection, and that is Alan Curl, and we're in the process of giving him what we normally give employees who receive an additional license.
Okay.
And so we adjust their pay according to that.
So right now, how many employees do we have that are licensed besides Geraldo? And is David?
No.
You're two, right? Yes,
No,
so we
no,
actually
no,
three, right?
Dave is not licensed in gas. Are you?
Yes,
Yeah, he
Yes,
is.
yes,
Oh, so we
Yeah.
have 3
Yeah,
employees.
that's what I was kind of. So
Yeah.
I just want to be clear.
But there's 2 in the department,
correct. Okay.
yes.
Did Mario attend that?
Not yet, but
He has indicated that he wants to.
that he wants to go, yes. I just need to wait for gas to come into work and set another date for the.
I want to say that he needs to do some work on his eyes because I believe he has cataracts, and so I think he wants to do that first before he actually goes to the training, because that may impede what he can do.
I had a question on the gas department. I was talking to David a little while ago. Apparently, my neighbor across the street, his name is Cruz. Ernie Cruz. Apparently, he had a problem on there was a leak on his gas line, on his meter, and your 2 employees of the city went to go repair it. And I know that the construction is coming up on the 16th of next week. And I was just talking to David, is there any possibility that we the city can go smell throughout all the meters if there's any leaks or anything in that area before the real construction starts?
If you'll notice, what we did was we moved them completely away from the cast iron pipe that was on the right side of the road if you're going east, and so we put in a brand new light on the west side of the road.
Correct.
And we can go back and do a sniffer. They've got a sniffer, and just go down the street to make sure.
Yeah,
The water line itself is going to be done on the opposite side of the
Correct.
street, so it won't interfere with whatever construction was actually done.
Yeah, because
already.
I know the new line was on the opposite side, and that's where the leak was on the opposite
Yes.
side.
Well, it wasn't on our side, it was on his side.
Yeah. Yeah,
Well,
but I'm just
wouldn't it-
wondering
wouldn't
if
it be
there's
the-
any possibility that anyway before the construction
Yeah, we
starts.
can do that. It's no big deal.
But wouldn't it be the responsibility of the company to go out there and do it instead of us?
Well, that was on the customer side.
They did, well, the gas did do it.
But you're right on the sniffing.
The company already
Did a
did a
test.
gas leak test,
Which they have.
and there isn't. But
have-
we can go back and redo the effort.
Yeah.
It doesn't
Yeah.
matter. I mean, it's something that we do all the time
Yeah.
anyway.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Before it gets paid.
One more question. The water department and the sewer department and the gas department, do they all have vehicles for their duties? Because I've seen
we do-
two
we
pickup
do.
trucks under the canopy. They're not.
We do, we have 2 trucks under the canopy.
Correct.
One is, or both of them, one is code compliance, and the other one is gas. And
the other one with the gas, that's gas with the head right, but that one's not working now.
It's not working right now.
no, we, I don't know if you've heard, but we have 3 trucks on back order. We ordered them at the same time that we did the other 2 trucks. Because of the problem with the microchips, they're not able to deliver the trucks. And they're telling us now that those trucks that we ordered, I want to say in March, are probably not going to be delivered till October.
Okay. So this coming October?
Yes.
Okay. So every employee and every department.
Every employee that needs a truck should have a truck,
Okay.
with that one exception.
Okay. So without using their personal vehicles to do the
Correct.
job. What's the status on? I don't know the update on the dog catcher truck.
That's proposed in the new budget.
New budget. Okay.
And in fact, you have an item on the agenda tonight doing a resolution going into the future so that we can do a financing once we put the order in for all those trucks.
Okay. No more questions.
Thank you. On the street department, although the street department isn't here, we did file for something called a Secco Grant, and it's a grant that's done by the Comptroller's Office to try to create efficiency in lighting. And so we're proposing to redo the lighting at the street yard, the adjacent shops, the animal shelter, and then all of the barns that we have on 97, which have very inadequate lighting, and that's where our storage is for many of our departments. And so we're gonna we applied for that. We sent the grant proposal in on the, what was it, Friday? I think it was the 2nd. Is that what it was? Or no, it was the 6th. On the 6th, we had to submit it. It was up to 75,000, and I think all total we were at 30,000 that we're going to do, and it's reimbursable by the state, and so we're going to go ahead and move the project forward.
Any other departmental reports?
No.
Any new status on the,
I have one more item that I need to discuss. Although we don't have a department, on Tuesday, we did launch our proposed LOMAR project. It's the LOMAR stands for Letter of Map Revision, and it's analyzing the flow of water on Mustang Creek. We had gotten a grant, I want to say it's a $150,000 project that looks at all of Mustang Creek from just below 35 all the way to Martinez, where the low water crossing is. The engineers came in and put their project together. We had a discussion about it, and so it should take about 6 months from start to finish. And once we do that, we will submit the results to FEMA, and FEMA should then issue a map revision, what is called a map revision, so that we identify our
floodplains.
and we're able to help some of the people that are building new houses, so that we show them out of the floodplain and they don't have to pay flood insurance. Because when they pay flood insurance and they build a brand new house, they mortgage it, the flood insurance is about $4,000. And so that will be a savings to the people that are building in that area, just to make sure that they have accurate information, because the current information is totally inaccurate. And so that'll be a new thing that we've not done before. Once we finish that, then we will continue to move forward with improvements to the creek to increase the flow and to make it easier for us to deal with standing water and other things that currently are now as part of the condition of the creek. And so in the future, you'll be able to do I was going to say a jetway. It's not called a jetway. It's a pilot channel down the middle of the creek. And basically what it is you're able to put concrete with some walls on it in order to get the moisture out of the creek and processed, and so that it's elevated the right way so that you can continue to have a downward flow and you actually have the flow of water in the creek instead of having it at different levels and having it standing and breeding mosquitoes and other things. And so that is moving into the future, but this is the first step.
Okay.
Any status on the national recognition of the Plaza Florita and the Lyndon Baines Johnson ceremony?
I was given an email by the architects. He's in the back there. It's now on the National Park Service website, and I'll give the email to Juan so that if people want to access it or whatever, they're able to do that. It has to go through a public comment period, and it's on there 5 days, and then they'll make a decision. We are trying to arrange for different things to occur. We don't know for sure when it's going to be done, but we do know that one of our local, well, actually two of our local people, Jeronima Garza and has written a book. It's being published by Del Alma Publications. It is a fiction novel children's book geared for about the 3rd or 4th grade. It's called Glove for a Lady. It's based at Wellhausen, and it evolves around the LBJ experience with the city of Cotulla and the children involved in that process when he was their teacher. We are trying to see if we can put that event together, because there's going to be a book signing for her. The illustrator, a man by the name of Noé Garza, is also from Cotulla, and he's the one that illustrated the drawings or curriculum, whatever's in the book as far as illustrations, and he has done it. So it's authored by a person from Cotulla and illustrated by a person from Cotulla, and it's about the experience at Cotulla Wellhausen School. And so we're trying to put it all together as part of a package. We may not be able to succeed, so we may have to do 2 different events, but once the recognition happens, we know we're going to have an event, because the recognition is for the school and the plaza. Both things are combined, and so it'll be a big deal. And we're very excited about doing that. It took us almost 2 years to put it together. It was very well done, and it was approved by the Texas Historic Review Commission, and so now we're just waiting for the national designation by the Park Service, and they'll send us a plaque, and we'll do the appropriate things after that, and we'll continue with our process of trying to recognize that entire experience that occurred many years ago.
Big things for Cotulla, guys. Awesome. Any other departmental reports? If not, moving on to item number 6, approval of minutes, July 8th, 2021. Councilman, if you had a chance to review the minutes, Ms. City Secretary, was there any changes on the minutes? No changes were made? Councilman, if you had a chance to review the minutes, I need a first motion to approve item number 6. First motion by Mr. Cotulla, I need a second.
Second motion.
Second by Mr. Rodriguez, all in favor say aye. All opposed say nay. Motion carries. Moving on to item number 7, discussion of possible action on a resolution regarding a contract for the purpose of financing heavy equipment and vehicles.
We normally do resolutions for equipment purchases, and we generally take those purchases and do annual payments over a 2 or 3 year period. We are putting this together because we know that we're going to be ordering equipment. It probably won't be delivered until the beginning of the new fiscal year. And we expect actually to back into the resolution to make sure that that we have the financing document available. Once we finalize the document, we will bring it to you.
What equipment are you looking at?
We're looking at a loader. We're looking at the trucks that haven't been delivered and the dog truck. And I believe we're going to have to purchase a tractor for the airport. If you'll recall, some years ago, we did an audit of the airport base manager, and we ended up having a long discussion about who was responsible for the mowing down there, and we got into a hassle about it. I think it's still the responsibility of the city, although that hasn't occurred. We do some mowing out there, but our tractor that we use for mowing is undersized, and in order to be able to move those gang mowers that they have, you probably need about a 80 to 85 horsepower tractor, and I would think that's going to cost you somewhere in the range of about $50,000 to $60,000. I just bought one myself, not that size, a little bit smaller, and that's pretty much what I paid.
And we are financially okay with the heavy equipment, the trucks, the tractors? And
Yeah, you'll be able to afford it because you're going to stretch it out. You're not going to pay it in cash with a check, and so you'll do it as an annual payment. We have done most of our equipment purchases on a 2 or 3 year level, and that's how we've been able to purchase all the equipment that we've bought. This past year we didn't do that, and so we got a little bit tight, and so I want to make sure that in the coming year we are able to do that, so we can still buy the equipment and we don't get as tight financially.
okay.
So some of the equipment is basically for the maintenance department. Am I correct?
Yes, it's all heavy equipment, and
Is there anything that, for instance, say for the sewer department that they may need, like any trailers with pumps or anything like that? Just to see.
they're asking for some trailers, and the cost of the trailers is not very expensive, and so we would purchase that with cash. We wouldn't finance it.
Okay, that'd be great.
And we are purchasing some current trailers for public works as well.
Okay, that'd work.
Any other questions, Councilman, on item number 7? If not, I seek a first motion to approve item number 7.
All right.
First motion by Mr. Juan Garcia, second by Mr. Cotulla. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay.
Nay.
Motion carries. Moving on to item number 8. Presentation of financial statements by Mr. Jorge Flores. Flores, welcome. Another month, sir.
Quick report is the sales tax report. For the month of August, the city received $132,290. So sales tax is looking a lot better than it was during the pandemic. Things are picking up. Hopefully the building activity increases And if we see that, we'll see an increase in the sales tax. Next report is the hotel motel tax collection report. For the month of July, the city received $220,056. The hotel motel taxes also continue to go growth.
Are they all paying their taxes? They do?
Yeah, we just sent out reminder letters to certain people that had not paid. In fact, we have collected an additional 70 or close to $80,000 in August. That'll be reported at the next meeting, and so that takes us closer to our projected figures that we had, and we also have a contract that we held back on for auditing the hotels, and so we're entitled to choose up to 6 hotel properties, and we're going to be choosing which ones of those hotel properties we believe we need to go look at their books. This is just to make sure that they're following the law and they're reporting what they should be reporting. The last time that we did that, we did catch one property that was not doing that, and it resulted in a substantial amount of money. I know that some properties have shifted ownership, and so we will look at those as part of what we're doing. And we initially had a report from one property at a certain level, and they adjusted their level and came back with a different number, and we're going to go back and check that number because I think the original number was accurate, and so that resulted in about a 50% reduction in what was there. So we're just going to look just to making sure that everybody stays honest, and that there isn't a lack of interpretation or clarification of what the state law says.
Didn't one of the hotels that was sold, didn't they owe taxes?
They did.
And the new owner?
They did, and they paid at the time that happened.
Okay.
And we had another property that had a management company doing their work, and the management company underreported, and we went back to that hotel and said, you either pay the additional amount of money, we're going to close your doors.
Next report is the statement of revenues and expenditures. On page number 1, general fund revenues, $1,531,425. On page number 4, total expenses of $2,182,849 for a net balance of $651,423. Now, this month, we're expecting the check from the stimulus package, so that should wipe out almost all of the deficit that we see.
Was there a reason why it came out so high? And
Yeah.
Which one?
the debt, the middle, what we had to pay?
Because you have a shortfall in the revenues. If you go to the sales tax, you're not at the levels that are there that were projected, and so if you look at those figures, you can see what the differences are.
And the amount that we're gonna receive, we can justify the full amount as outstanding.
The American Rescue Act money is being divided into 2 payments, and one of them we should be getting within the next week or so, I believe, or maybe September, and then the following payment we're going to be getting in October. The money can be used to replenish the lack of revenues like sales tax that are there. We're currently awaiting reimbursement on some additional money that we spent on the CARES Act, that has not been reimbursed. And so we're waiting for the Texas Department of Emergency Management to issue that check. That check, we've already applied for the check, but it's being done on a reimbursement basis. And so all of the state offices are way behind in what they're doing, and that's why some of these things that we're showing are lags in what has happened. But we expect to, with those monies, to make up for that deficit.
By any chance, do you happen to know the amount that we're supposed to get?
The first check is going to be for 50%, and the amount of money that is allocated for the city is $1,100,000. So the check should be somewhere in the range of 500,000 plus.
On the next page, page number 5, is the water sewer fund. Total revenue is $1,389,461. On the next page, total expenses of $1,285,570 for net income of $103,080.
We do have pending, we did file a claim with the insurance company for the damages that we had. I want to say it was in May or April when we had the lightning storm, and we filed, I believe it was for $70,000, and our deductible is $250. So we're processing the claim, and hopefully we'll get the reimbursement check. So
The gas fund on page number 7, revenues of $351,988, expenses of $219,349 for net income of $132,639.
I am gonna bring back to you a discussion on gas rates, in particular on the commercial side, not necessarily on the residential side. There is an interest by Love's Travel Center. They closed on their property this week. They provided us with a letter of credit for $1,680,000 so that they can begin to prepare their site work for their location. They are going to be coming in and getting the mayor's signature on the replat of the property so that they can put the replat at the courthouse. Once that is done, then they will come in and ask for a building permit to begin construction of their property. And one of the interests that they have is to extend our gas line all the way to their facilities. And we have an interest to expand our gas line into that area because we want to get as close as we can to Anadarko or to Targa so that we can have an available additional gas source and that we're not just tied to West Texas Gas. And so that way we'll be able to try to negotiate an additional contract. The reason for reviewing the rate is so that we can try to incorporate within the rate increase a capture clause when we have to do an expansion, and we can either upfront it and charge it, or charge it and then mitigate it at some point so that the customer is satisfied with the transaction the way it occurs. And it's to the city's benefit to do the expansion.
Then on page number 8 is the solid waste fund. Revenues of $667,682, expenses of $735,062 for a net loss of $67,380.
Remember that we bought the roll-off in cash out of that budget.
Correct.
And the net loss was over $100,000 after we purchased that vehicle.
Correct.
So it's getting better things.
Yeah.
Any questions?
Any other questions, Councilman, for Mr. Flores on financial statement report?
No, sir.
I don't have it.
Thank you.
No, Mr. Flores, thank you very much for that report, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Moving on to item number 9, City of Cotulla proposed budget FYE September 30th, 2022, for information only.
You want to say?
Mayor, we filed a budget with the city secretary before July 31st. It's a preliminary budget, it's a proposed budget. We'll be having some budget workshops soon. And the proposed budget is subject to change, any changes that come to council.
We will,
Also,
go ahead.
we also posted, there's a new website required by the state that the appraisal is set up where, I mean, for transparency, where the city posts what the tax rates are. So we prepared the tax rate calculation worksheet, and the no new revenue tax rate came out to 74 cents. The current tax rate is 70 cents, but since the values went down, the no new revenue tax rate goes up a little. The no new revenue tax rate is the tax rate that we need to collect the same amount of tax dollars as we collected this year. But again, during the budget workshops, we'll be discussing in more detail the different tax rates that are involved.
This item is just for information,
Yes.
just for you to read on it.
And we will be making changes to it. We're just complying with the law to make sure that we timely file the proposal.
Any other questions on item number 9? Mr. Flores, thank you very much for that.
Thank you, sir.
Moving on to item number 10, discussion and proposed act and possible action for reaffirming appointment if Erica Bustamante as Labor Standard Office for CDBG contract number 7219089.
Erica does most of our grant work, and she does all the compliance. We're currently working on Ortiz drainage. We did get a bid. We're waiting to clear environmental with the state. I think, believe it or not, we're waiting for I believe it's called the Native American something that, we need to make sure that there's no arrowheads in the street or that there's Indian burial grounds or something there. And so we're waiting for that to clear before we move forward. But she is the labor standards, because in the contracts it's federal money, and we need to be compliant with wage and hour federal standards. And so she is the one that does that work. And so this is just a formality of us appointing her to make sure that she continues to be listed on our forms that we send to the state as a labor standards compliance person. And we recommend that you approve it.
Any other questions on item number 10, Councilman?
Yes, sir.
Not, I seek a first motion to approve item number 10. First motion by Mr. Rodriguez, I need a second. Second by Mr. Sertuche, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carries. Moving on to item number 11, discussion and possible action to award the Stockman's Bank Phase 2 bid to Briscoe Architect Conservation based on a recommendation of Frank Architects Incorporation for the amount of $399,258.
We solicited bids, and we went out on bids. We had interest from several parties. At the end, we ended up only receiving one package, and it was from the individual who had done the preliminary face work. I would ask Frank Rovnosky with Frank Architects to kind of bring you along through what we did in phase one and how this is going to finish out the project so that the building is usable and we're able to occupy it as an office and complete the restoration that we started.
Frank, thanks for coming in.
Of course, good evening, Mayor, Council, your friend. So, as Mr. Dovalina just spoke about, this particular contractor did do the original conservation work on. Phase one consisted of, if you remember, prior to that construction, there was some serious structural cracks and actually some very concerning ones. So basically, during the phase one, the building was completely stabilized. All of the masonry work was redone, taking care of those structural deficiencies. In addition, it was completely what we would call dried in. New roofs, new windows, new doors, so that the building basically was restored primarily on all the exterior work, not only stabilizing it and saving it, but also basically doing a lot of what we call heavy lifting in the beginning. That was phase one. We went out for a second series of bids, what we're referring to as phase two, and that really is what we would call the interior finish out. All of the materials that are required to make the space inhabitable and usable, but that also includes all new mechanical work, electrical work, plumbing, and all of the work associated with that as well. Also, just to go back to phase one, it was not only the building itself, but it was also addressing some of the drainage issues that were initially compromising the building. Those were corrected as well. So this would be the last part of the project to bring it to its full completion.
Would you describe what is going to happen to the awning and the area outside of the building?
Sure. So, as preservationists, we've been studying old photos and, of course, looking at the building itself and being able to, as we take things apart, it's referred to as basically interpreting what was there to bring it back to its original historical significance. And so what you see out there right now was the idea of the original awning that we were able to capture off photographs. It's incomplete. I know if you look at it now, there's just some 2x and some steel columns, but that will be refinished with the original intent of what the canopy initially looked like. On the interior, redoing all the original floors, replicating the original tin ceilings. So that essentially is the approach to the next phase of the project.
It's a good thing that we had a very positive hotel motel report because I don't know if they touched base on it when you went to the training. Hotel motel tax money can't be used for, it has a restrictive clause, and this is one of the items that can be used for hotel motel money. You can use it for museums, for advertising, for preservation, and these types of things. And so that money doesn't come from local taxes, it comes from room taxes that are paid by visitors to the community. And so the allocation to this particular construction project and to the finish is paid by that room tax. And so we would recommend that you approve the proposed construction contract so that we can go ahead and finish the project.
Councilman, any other questions on item number 11 for Mr. Frank Architects? If not, I need a first motion to approve item number 11. First by Mr. Sertuche, second by Mr. Juan Garcia. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Frank. Moving on to item number 12, discussion and possible action to approve pay request number 4 submitted by CDM Smith in the amount of $36,240.50 for professional service regarding task order number 2, wastewater treatment plant improvements project.
What Jimmy presented to you earlier is we've had a meeting with CDM Smith, and they've produced what is called 30% deliverables. They've identified a whole bunch of projects. We are considering doing design of all of these projects, although we may not go out on bids on all of the projects depending on the money available. We believe that within the infrastructure bill that was passed by the Senate this week and that is going to the House, that there will be monies in that for cities to go ahead and make improvements to their water lines and their sewer lines. And so what we're going to do is we're going to prioritize the projects that are most needed for the wastewater plant, and then leave some other projects already finished and designed on the shelf, so that when the money becomes available, we're ready to immediately go in there and say, we've got a project we can get done. And we think those monies are going to be made available for rural communities, either through USDA or through the Texas Water Development Board, as grants, not as loans.
Okay.
So we would ask for your approval on that item as well.
Any questions, Councilman, on item number 12? If not, I seek a first motion to approve item number 12. First motion by Mr. Rodriguez. I need a second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Sertuche. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carries. Moving on to item number 13, discussion and possible action to approve contractor's application for payment number 1 submitted by South Construction Management LLC in the amount of $122,625 for the Pool Street Water Line Project.
And this is for items 13 and 14, or the issues that were done with the gas lines, and they complete the payment of the gas lines. And we ask for your approval on that as well. Although the contract is already approved, we still bring you the items when we do the draws for your information that we're paying for these particular items.
Any questions, Councilman, on item number 13? If not, I seek a first motion to approve item number 13.
So move.
First motion by Mr. Juan Garcia, second by Mr. Sertuche. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carries. Moving on to item number 14, discussion and possible action to approve contractor's application for payment number 2 submitted by South Construction Management LLC in the amount of $79,875 for the Pool Street Water Line Project.
Again, this is another one of the draws that we're bringing to you, and we recommend that you approve that as well.
Councilman, if there's no further questions on item number 14, I seek a first motion to approve item number 14. First motion by Mr. Rodriguez. I need a second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Sertuche. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carries. Moving on to item number 15, discussion and possible action to select Top Site Civil Group LLC for the professional engineering and surveying services for FY financial year 2021 and 2025 projects, and authorize the city manager to negotiate and execute all required documents.
The last meeting, you approved a resolution agreeing to work with the county government in some grant funding that they received from TxDOT. And part of the email that was sent to us by their attorney was to go ahead and approve that resolution, but that we also had to do a procurement, a new procurement for civil engineers and designers in order to qualify for the project for these grants that were coming in. So we proceeded at the at your request to go ahead and do an RFQ. We did an RFQ.
We sure did.
We had 4 engineering companies submit proposals. We sat down and graded those proposals. We ranked top site civil engineers as number 1. We ranked S&B infrastructure as number 2. Then we ranked Garcia and Wright as number 3, and another group that has never done work with us at number 4. And we are recommending that we select for the engineering RFQ as top site civil engineers. I know Jorge wasn't here, but Ricardo Villarreal with his firm is here in case anyone has any questions. We have had a lot of experience with Jorge. Jorge left S&B Infrastructure, and he has continued to do miscellaneous work for us, doing a lot of surveying on properties that we have acquired, and a lot of design work that he actually did. He actually did Ortiz Street, and he actually did Pool Street when he was with S&B Infrastructure, and we have a great deal of confidence in the work that he does and what his firm is able to do. They're young guys that are very active, and of course they don't charge what the S&B guys charge because they've got to feed more people. And so we recommend that we select topside civil group.
Councilman, any questions on item number 15? If not, I seek a first motion to approve item number 15. First motion by Mr. Sertucci. I need a second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Juan Garcia. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carries. Moving on to item number 16, discussion and possible action on a presentation by Patrick Riddle of Bay Area Time regarding a time clock program and equipment for $2,653.
We were recommended to go with this particular company because they're the ones that also provide the time clock services for the county. We kept trying to get a hold of this man and we couldn't get a hold of him. We found out he had been in the hospital with COVID, and that's why he was not able to come tonight. We still want to go ahead and move forward with the time clock that he is suggesting. This particular contract that we have here on the quote is a time clock that we probably will alter because we want to go to a facial time clock that actually identifies the individual with his face, and it may cost us a little bit more money, but we want to make certain that we're doing it. We already have people doing manual time clocks with cards, but this will be for everybody, and it will include all the staff.
So nobody will be exempt?
No.
Okay.
Even
will this be also biometric with finger or just a facial?
No, it'll be just a facial.
Okay.
The problems that we have with the biometric is that people get oil and stuff on them, and they won't register, and we have a lot of problems.
Correct.
But during the budget, we're going to come back, and we are suggesting that some people go to salaries, like some of the other people have salaries for certain staffs, and so we will ask for those people to go to salaries, but they'll still have to clock in and clock out,
Okay.
regardless of whether they're on salary or not.
The salary employees will be like supervisors, right?
Yes.
That's what most agencies have. They have their supervisors as,
Yes.
as a salary employee.
You have to be careful when you do salaried employees, because once they go on salaries, they can't claim comp time.
They can't.
Cannot.
Cannot.
The state does it.
Not
The city,
anybody else
not the
does.
county.
The state does it. They can't get overtime, but they can get comp time.
No, I mean you can work administratively with them, but to actually clock in comp time, you can't do that. So the labor standards has a certain definition on how you make that happen, and you need to follow it, because otherwise you can get in trouble. But anyway, it'll be something in the future, and so currently we're just trying to get this going so we can get the program going.
How long would it take to be, I guess, to be installed?
I'm not sure. I have to talk to the gentleman. I personally haven't talked to him.
Okay.
But I would think that it would be an easy deal, because he did claim that what he was proposing here would probably not be what we wanted, because I specifically asked for certain things.
Right.
And this is a one-time payment?
Yeah, but you're gonna have to service it.
Yeah.
It, you're gonna have to adjust
So
it.
hopefully now that you're
They have
able
to
to
keep coming in and out, but the good thing is that if he's coming to the county, he can come to the city.
Right.
Because they both share the same time clock.
Their salary is gonna be every other week or once a month pay.
No, it's the same time period. You would just break it into 26 pay periods.
Oh.
And with this time clock will be placed in every, like, the maintenance department?
We would have it at street, water, and city.
Okay.
City Hall. And we recommend that you approve that as well.
So this is for all three, or just for one?
It's for all three.
All three, oh.
Councilman, any other questions on item number 16?
No, sir.
No.
If not, I seek a first motion to approve item number 16. First motion by Mr. Cotulla. I need a second. Second by Mr. Rodriguez. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carries. Moving on to item number 17, discussion and possible discussion on proposed City of Cotulla employee handbook social media policies.
Mayor, this is an item I think that had come up about a month or so ago, and due to some conflicts with my schedule, I was not able to be here to discuss it. There are some issues that have arrived with city employees who, I don't think they're currently doing it, but they were putting things on social media and that were essentially probably not using the best judgment. And it was certainly something that should not be encouraged. Unfortunately, the fact that the city of Catoola is a governmental agency means that we are strictly, if we try to limit an employee's speech, we run into First Amendment issues. If this was your restaurant or my business, and my employee says something about me I don't like, I have a lot more leeway to deal with them than you do when you work for the government. So it is an area that I think is evolving. I don't think we've seen the end of the types of media that will be available to individuals to access a broad range of people. I doubt, or maybe Mr. Rodriguez does because he's a younger man, but most of the older people don't really do that stuff as much. Some do. But it's really kind of a younger person's things with Instagram and stuff like that. So here's section 509.1 currently exists. And there were some amendments that had been, I actually spoke to the general counsel at TML and kind of said, well, can you give me one that works? And she said, well, good luck, I think the thing is that, and I don't mean to say this in a bad way, but when we select employees, we hope that we get some that don't want to get on the internet and trash the city, that have enough judgment to know when they should and shouldn't be doing things. But unfortunately, there's not a whole heck of a lot we can do about it. One of the things that you can require, of course, is that they don't use city time to do it, that they don't do it on their job, that they don't release private information about their employees. here's the water supervisor social security number, or doxing them, go by his house and, protest or whatever the thing might be, as well as a disclaimer that they're not representing the opinions of the city. I really don't know where we're at with it. I think it's a training thing too, and I think that it's really something that I think needs to be addressed with each new employee. Make sure they're aware of it. There's nothing that prevents the city from providing examples of acceptable types of compliance with the policy, but it is a very tricky issue, and so I think this evening I think the main purpose was just to show the proposals. That is not a problem that is unique to the city of Cotulla, and it is one that is well on the radar of governmental entities in general.
Do you think TML would have any training on that or any
not that
would
I'm
they add it
aware
on?
of.
Would they add it on to any
No,
new training on employees?
They're not going to have it. They may have a seminar when we have the TML conference that probably will address this issue, and certainly anybody's welcome to attend that. But I think what Mr. Peña is trying to do is to reword the social media page, and then we have indicated that we're going to have a training session for all employees and just go over the items that are talked about in the social media so that everybody's aware of what we're talking about.
So what I would like for each of you to do is to take a look at it, come back to me if there's any changes, any other suggestions. And again, I went directly to I deal with this lady quite a bit actually. Say, hey, show me something that other cities have adopted. And she did. They're not going to make a recommendation one way or the other. If you ever call TML, if you've ever done it, and ask a legal question, the first thing they'll tell you is listen to your city attorney, because they don't want to get involved in this, right? So, I think it's a level of maturity. I think one of the other things I think is that employees should understand that if they have a problem, like any other organization, we would prefer that you raise the issue directly within your organization. Provide perhaps some additional training, some mechanisms, an ombudsman or something. Unfortunately, we don't have a huge staff here.
Or fortunately.
It's not another duty you want to impose on the city secretary, and really I don't think it is. But I mean, you go to any business now, half the employees are doing this, right? They're doing it all day long, and I haven't noticed it at the city hall, but then I don't hang out there much, so it is a tempting thing, and I think most of us would consider ill-advised comments about your employer to be bad judgment, but because we are a city like a county or any other governmental type agency, the courts typically look very favorably on the individual's right to kind of say what they want to say. Now, they can't lie about you, they can't threaten you, they can't do things like that, and it's a line, right? There's a line. I wish I had a better answer. There really is not. I think it's a training issue. I think it's something we need to stay on top of. Now, one thing that is important, the city maintains a Facebook page, right? Mm-hmm. So all that stuff we put on Facebook is potentially open record stuff. So we got to preserve that stuff. If we're going to do it, we're going to have to keep, we have to keep records of that because somebody could come in and ask for it. You know, so everything you do, the city now has a website. Well, our agendas need to be there. Our minutes need to be there. You know, for many years we didn't have one. So this isn't going to go away. And they'll probably, in 10 years from now, have something even worse than than what we have now.
Right.
But you know, it is something we're going to have to deal with. And I think, as I indicated with our youngest councilman, it is really his generation and the generations that come after him and our children. They love this stuff.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
and there are plenty of adults that love it too.
I do want to commend the council because this is the first full council that actually has gone through open records and open meetings training and actually gone through the newly elected officials training. And so I believe that for the first time in many years, we have a better trained council and mayor than we've ever had. And kudos to you guys for having gone to the training and gotten the certificates that you all got, because we didn't have those before.
And take advantage of every opportunity you have to read the publications and understand these things. I don't know when Mr. Dovalina wants to have the training. We certainly can put something together and try to make it interesting, try to explain what we want, you know, what we expect, and you know, I think our employees, when they're taught correctly, will use better judgment, you know, and that's kind of the key.
And we're probably going to be doing the training during this coming month or early next month because we do owe the employees and have mentioned it, and several councilmen have mentioned it to me, that they are thankful for the many circumstances that we've had to overcome this year with the winter storm and the other things, and that the employees came through with flying colors. And we want to make sure that as part of the training, we also show an appreciation to the employees for the work that they continue to do within the city. And so we want to combine both things, the training session and also the distinguishing the employees for the work that they have done.
Can we do a lunch
Yeah, we can do a lunch.
for them?
One thing I would like to mention, I know that you're saying that within a month you probably have the training on social media ethics or whatever subject you want to mention to. I know where I work in the school, we have to sign a paper at the end of the training that we did attend the training, so they can have it on record to protect the school itself, that we do
Right.
and accept and read the policies.
We will have all of that.
Okay.
If you adopt the amended policy, we will reissue the employee handbook and we'll have them sign. That's another thing, you know, people come and go, hey, where's the acknowledgement? I don't know, you
Well,
know. I
Yeah,
mean,
we typically
the record
acknowledge.
keeping has to be good.
Yeah, when
So-
we hire somebody, we typically acknowledge that they've done
Correct.
the training.
Mr. Peña, so you will be amending the handbook and bringing it to council?
Well, I
for
want to know
approval?
whether or not this is about as good as I saw, and this came from, you know, from Team L, which
Yeah,
is really kind of the clearinghouse for this kind of thing.
right.
I'd be interested in knowing, what does the county do? What does the school do? You know, what are their policies?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, are they vastly different than what we're
Well,
proposing?
I don't want to protract it very long. I'd rather, if everybody's comfortable, that we agree to do the amendment to the social policy, so. we can-
I'm okay the way, like everything's stated there, that going to the orientation for all the employees, and they signed that they did attend the orientation. I'm okay with
Because
that.
if we wait too long,
Yeah.
then we're gonna lose track. And
Correct.
It'd be better to get it done, move
Correct.
forward, and let's get the training done.
Correct.
Excellent.
So we can move forward with that. This is a discussion item tonight only, so.
No
we can-
action
we
either.
can-
But you know that we're in agreement, and so
Okay.
go ahead prepare the amendment and let's move forward.
Okay, do you want, in the past, and it's been a while, we actually printed out the books and bought
We can do that all over.
because they're bound and it's just
And
easier.
we can give each one of the employees another set.
All right, that's
Excellent.
all I have. Thank you.
Real quick, just to clarify, this that is like the darker text is what you're trying, is what would be the amendment, and down here is what's currently there.
You know, I think Councilman.
There are two different items on the articles.
Oh,
And-
Yeah.
And I think the darker set is what is being added, and the lighter set is what is gonna stay.
okay.
Yeah, the stuff that's in italicized is the new stuff. So if you go to page, unfortunately not page, where it says employee guidelines,
Mm-hmm.
and the paragraph right above that, that's all the new stuff.
Okay.
All right, Councilman, if there's no further discussion, item number 17 was just for information. No action needed. Moving on to item number 18, closed session, Texas Government Code and Section 551.071, 1 and 2, pending litigation, consultation with attorney. Letter A, Luis Ayala Jr. versus City of Cotulla, Texas. It is now 8:22. We are in closed session. All right, everybody. Back into open session. No action was taken on item number 18, which was closed session. Open session, item number 19, the City of Cotulla reconvenes into open session to discuss and take action on closed session, item number 18, letter A. It is now 8:48. No action was taken.
There's no action to be taken.
No action to be taken. So moving on to item number 20. Before I adjourn, I just want to tell the citizens of Cotulla that for them to try to get vaccinated and also to wear the mask for safety purposes. The pandemic is, people think that it was over, but it's not really over. So we still got to be careful. So wear the mask, wash your hands, use hand sanitizer as best you can, and stay clean as best you can. Councilman, anything you guys want to say to the community?
Just be safe out there because some people may have the shots and some people may not. It's just protect yourself and protect others.
All right. Moving on to item number 20. This meeting is adjourned. It is now 8:49.